criticizing the religion is heavily frowned upon, and people get in a lot of trouble for doing that, starting from societal consequences, people ostracizing those critics or trying to harm them by posting their information online, and extending all the way to legal action if I happen to be in a country that would consider my actions to be detrimental to public safety or insulting to religions or to the sentiments of religious people. So just for my own safety and for the safety of my loved ones, I choose to keep my real identity and my online persona, because the point of my story today is not to tell you that people are terrible and that their beliefs turn them into bad people. I think that everyone I mentioned in my story was just as afflicted by the same belief system as I was. So I hope that people keep that in mind, especially in the English speaking world right now. Islam is viewed very differently than it is in the Middle East, where in Arabic, the word for apostate is murtad, and it's used in a derogatory way. So they don't even need to call you names. They just call you an apostate, and it's implied that it is a derogatory, to the point that back then in Saudi Arabia, stores would close 5 times every day, if they happen to be open during that time. The interactions with the opposite sex, I was encouraged to keep a distance, and through observation of what is seen as admirable and what is seen as taboo, that the devil is present with us, and the devil may tempt us to cross boundaries. So it's safer to just not be left alone with a girl and girls in the same class. But past that, we were in different parts of the school completely.
Wow.
So we weren't allowed to mingle whatsoever, not even in between classes, not even after school. There were a different class of students that we weren't allowed to see or interact with whatsoever. So that happened around the 4th grade. So one time I wrote this note just basically saying that I have a crush on her or something, and that I would like to be her friend. And I hid it somewhere at home before I could work up the courage to give it to her. Mm-hmm. And my mother found that note somehow. And she gave me a talk at the time. It wasn't a very stern or scary talk, but she basically asked me, and that's the one line that sticks with me to this day, is, what do you think her dad would think? When I was around 16, I was caught messaging a friend on my phone. And again, I hadn't said anything inappropriate, but and realized that I should have been sleeping, but instead I was texting a girl. Automatically assumed that there was something nefarious about it, even though they took my phone and they read the messages, and they got really angry. And I was severely beaten that night. Just for talking to a girl. And in a sense, I wasn't surprised. I didn't feel like I didn't deserve it. But the gist of it was that you don't spend time alone with a girl. It's not even about the time of the day or the location, especially not privately in a private location, but you're not supposed to be alone with a girl. Mm-hmm. There should be other people there to witness and make sure that there's nothing, no funny business going on. Mm. We shouldn't be shaking hands with women or looking at them or anything of that sort. I mean, that happened even, I think, before I hit puberty, or around the time I was hitting puberty. So I was pretty young. And I was taking my younger brother to the mall so that we can buy my mom a Mother's Day gift. And the security guard wouldn't let us in the mall because we didn't have a woman with us. We didn't have a family. If I were to have any impulse or any feeling of lust or any attraction to women, sometimes I would feel bad about that, because it would be as if I'm scared to become that man that will harass women, that inevitable outcome. Or it would be a sin all on its own, even if I don't escalate it. It's just a sin to have a thought about a woman or to have any lustful thought. And I would internally punish women. At the time, were supposed to not be seen outside without wearing a black, that they called it a abaya. It's like a cloak, basically, that you put on top of whatever you're wearing. And it's kind of baggy. So the shape of your body is not supposed to show. You just kind of look like a tent almost. And even women who don't wear the veil, the hijab on their head, they're supposed to at least loosely cover their hair with a black scarf or something. So in public, most of the time, women were just black figures walking in front of you, and you couldn't even see much of their skin. And some of them would go as far as to wear gloves to make sure that even their hands are not visible, because you don't want to entice a man that way. And the effect it had was that just the sight of skin or a body part whatsoever was intriguing, if not arousing. So it was not uncommon that because women didn't take public transportation or walk down the street, sometimes they'd have to wait outside for a cab or for a driver, and the traffic would halt sometimes because there will be guys who keep whistling at them or stop and try to talk to them just because they saw a woman's was very arousing to them. It sort of shifted the bar for what is arousing and what is sexy and what is showing off a woman's beauty, to the point that, you know, arms became sexy, legs became sexy, everything about a woman's existence. Just the reminder that this is a woman, just seeing her hair, that was arousing enough. And wow. I think it was when I went to university, that's when I really started pushing the boundaries, because I was far away from Saudi Arabia at that point, and I wasn't surrounded by people who always talked about sex or always thought about sex in that way. So organically, I just found myself in situations where I could interact with women in a consensual way, of course. So a lot of these issues I didn't deconstruct till way after I left Islam.
Okay.